So for my internship, I interned at a nonprofit organization located in Orem, Utah called the Refuge Utah, and this was for winter 2023 semester. How I found the Refuge Utah, it was kind of a little bit of a crazy process. There was once a spreadsheet provided in Canvas through the Marriage and Family Studies folder that I was able to find a list of a whole bunch of different internships that people had done in the past. And so I found some that sounded interesting. They were in my area and just Googled similar services for Utah County, which is where I specifically wanted to be. And I wound up finding the Refuge Utah, so I was interested and I didn't know if they would have any internships available, so I just went ahead and emailed their HR department, and sure enough, there were two internships that were available, and I chose to interview for the Sexual Assault Administration Team internship, and this is the wonderful group of ladies that I get to work with every single day. This is the admin team, and they have been great examples to me of what a victim advocate should look like and the things that go into providing services that are effective for survivors of sexual assault. So, some of my responsibilities varied. My main responsibility was a project that they asked me to start working on when I first started interning there, and that was our resource binder. Somebody in the past had gone through and found a whole bunch of different resources that could be given to victims as they come in for our services, and we see other needs that they have, whether that be with housing or employment, or maybe learning English as their second language, or support groups, other counseling services, just a whole variety of services, but those were limited to mainly Salt Lake County, and we serve survivors in Utah County, Girard County, and Wasatch County in Utah. And so Lori, the director, wanted to be able to find similar resources in those three counties and also just know if there were more resources out there that we could provide to clients. And so I spent a lot of time Googling resources around those counties and compiling a Google document that included all of those resources, where they're located, contact information, and a brief description about the services that a client would receive if they were to go there, and also the things that the client would need to qualify for those services and those programs. I was also able to work on our pediatric grant. So we get a lot of donations for clothes, just a lot of donations for a lot of things for the people that like victims or survivors would benefit from. So we get a lot of clothes and a lot of blankets, things of that nature. And when I first started there, they had received a pediatric grant fund to be able to build the resources that we have for pediatric clients. They don't see a whole lot of pediatric clients right now, which is good, but we also know that there are those individuals who unfortunately fall in that age range who are survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. And so my job within that project was to just take inventory of the clothing resources that we had. And what we do is we create a clothing bundle. So we take a pair of pants and a shirt and we roll them together in a bundle so our advocates can take them to the hospitals when they respond to they're called CODARs, or a forensic exam, when a victim comes in and they get an exam done. And sometimes the police officers have to take the victim's clothing in for evidence. And so we like to have something there that we can give to them that they can then change into and go home in. And so that's what our clothing donations are for. And that's a lot of what I did, was just kind of getting that up and running and getting it organized. So in the future, as things start to roll forward within that, there is a system that's going, and it's just all organized and accounted for. The other thing that I did a lot was on Wednesday nights, we have psychoeducation classes where survivors and their support person can come and meet with other survivors and other support people. And we just have a discussion and a presentation on different educational topics to help survivors as they navigate life after assault. So as part of that, I would just be the second man in class. We like to have 2 employees per class or more, just for liability, but also to be able to be a resource to these survivors if they start to feel triggered or overwhelmed or just need somebody to talk to during class. There's somebody that they can step out and talk to, and then somebody to teach the class. And I was able to teach the class a couple of times, which was a terrifying experience, but it was a great learning experience for me as well. I also worked with our community outreach advocate, and we would go to community nights or on campus, both at BYU and Utah Valley University, where we would just let people in the community know about the resources that we have, because sexual assault is such a prevalent thing that happens, and not a lot of people know about the resources that are out there if they or someone they know find themselves in that type of a situation. So I was just able to accompany her and help her spread the word about the services that we have to provide for these people. And I would also just do some oddball projects here and there, whatever the director or any of the other team members needed help with, or just random things they would ask me to help them. So how I benefited the refuge, that resource binder project that I worked on was something that the admin team had been wanting to complete for a long time, but because they are so busy and have so many other more important pressing matters, it was something that was put on the back burner. And so it was a huge undertaking, but I know that it will benefit not only our organization, but ultimately the survivors in their healing journey. And it helps bring together community resources so we can work together and help provide individuals the best care and the most services that are available to them, as well as the pediatric grant. That's something that took a lot of time and was something that needed to get done. But like I said, the team is just, they're really busy with other things. And so I was able to get that up and running and organized. And so now going forward in the future, there's a system in place that can be used. And I was just willing to step in whenever was needed. And I wasn't afraid to share my opinion. Sometimes they would ask me questions that I have no experience with, but they valued my opinion, and I always offered it to them on ways that we could be better and things that I thought that were already going really well. How I benefited from my internship, the biggest way that I benefited was I finally found a place and a space and a population that I want to work with in the future. Before my internship, I had no idea what I wanted to do for my career after I graduate, but I have come to love working in this field and just being able to be an advocate for survivors and help them get back up on their feet and just be there for them as they navigate life after assault. I also feel like I really grew as an individual. I was able to learn more about my community that I live in and the people that live here. And as part of those psychoeducational classes, I really felt like my public speaking was able to improve. I loved being able to get involved in community programs and just reaching out to members in the community and networking together to provide their services, but also our services to survivors. And something that I feel like is really important is I was able to build friendships um, that will help me in the future, whether that be continuing to work for the Refuge Utah or finding a different organization. These women that I work with have great rapport with people in the community, and I know will be an asset to me as I move forward in my career, and they provide great references for that as well. So one of the biggest takeaways and connections that I made from my internship to class was actually through an experience I had in one of my classes on a Zoom meeting. And that week we were talking about child neglect and abuse. And it was a really heavy topic. And one of the ladies in my group just shared that she didn't feel like she could work in that kind of environment, even though she had thought previously that that's something that she wanted to do. And I've come to learn that working in these services isn't for everybody because it is hard and you do deal with traumatic and devastating situations. But one thing that I'm grateful for my internship is just the understanding that this is something that I know I can handle, and it's something that I want to do for the foreseeable future, and it's something that I enjoy doing. And so it was interesting because we were talking about hard topics in this class, but I was able to be working in these hard topics and just see that I do feel like I fit and I do feel comfortable working and providing these services to these individuals. Do I recommend working at the Refuge Utah? I do. I think it's a great place to work. It's a great environment, and you're able to help people who need a little extra help. And although it can be hard, like I said, it's very rewarding to know that what you're doing every day matters and it really is changing somebody's life. And so if you are interested, you can contact Ari Williams. She is the HR gal over at the Refuge. You can just shoot her an email and say that you're interested in becoming an intern, and she will get back to you and let you know